fast. What if Vietnam became known for, hey, the products there are a little bit more expensive, but worth it?
Okay.
What if that was the reputation? Well, the only reason it's not the reputation is because no one intended it to be the reputation. Instead, it was like, well, what are the Chinese doing? Okay, they're doing cheap, cheap, let's copy that. Instead, we can do the opposite of the Chinese and do the high quality and sell their wealthy folks the high quality products as well as the United States, the EU, and the rest. So it's an opposite strategy. You could start small and then scale big. So if you want to do it from a low investment standpoint, the way to do it is to own Sydney, the market of Sydney, for a certain brand of coffee that you have. You make sure that they're buying it. It's the best coffee in the world. The customer is always very happy. They'll keep buying more, and then you can expand. Then you're in Melbourne or New York. You can do it one city at a time at a very small scale.
All right. How about the next strategy?
The third strategy is a very simple one, which is supply yourself. One of the reasons why we have inflation, I would say over half the inflation that we're experiencing today is from importing. And why are we importing? Because the more we export, the more we have to import for supplies, material. But what if those supplies and material came from within Vietnam?
Are you talking about the support industries?
Support industries, supplier input support industries.
At this moment, we have a pretty weak support industry right now. It's had been a problem for many, many years, and we haven't solved the problem.
Well, the solution...
What are we looking at?
The solution would be to either build it with your own money here, and you have enough. You have a lot of expensive real estate that if you converted it into support industries, it would work. Or you can invite FDI to do it and say, look, we're producing a lot of sneakers and shoes here. Wouldn't you like to be closer to your customer? And well, let's make it worth your while. And that would be one way to solve the trade imbalance and cut down the inflation. Whenever you have to import something, you get the effect of dollar devaluation. And so instead, you keep yourself strong by supporting yourself. It's what the Chinese do. But the Chinese margin is very razor thin. They have a razor thin margins. With quality, your margin is bigger. And with branding, it's even bigger. So let's go for the profitability in the margin and not just trying to do cheap, cheap.
So it's interesting to see that you mentioned the point about attracting FDI capital into the supporting industry. It seems that the FDI guys seem to focus more on the other areas, such as instead of the supporting industry. So how can we attract them then?
Well, what normally happens is a bunch of foreigners get on a plane, they fly into Ho Chi Minh City, they stay at a nice 5-star hotel, enjoy the boondoggle, then they take a trip out to the province somewhere and they hear a speech, and they go back home and they still don't know what opportunities exist for them. What if we can target our needs? We say, look, we're looking for a specific support industry, and we're going to make it very attractive for that industry to locate here.
Okay.
Well, one way would be to go to your existing factories that are already producing and ask them where they're buying their stuff from. Then calling up those companies and inviting them to visit. I mean, as simple as that. And I'm sure it's being done, I just haven't heard about it. But if it was being done more, we wouldn't have a trade imbalance. We'd be supplying ourselves.
But I mean, for the supporting industry, don't have problem because of the policy from the government so far?
I think it's more the fact that no one's thought about doing it. I think that the intention has been missing. So I think if you know, this is a growth market, a lot of FDI is coming in, so something must be going right.
Okay.
So, but no, if you just asked different people to come in, maybe you would have a different result. So I just think it's the intention. So I've read all the problems. I've read them to the point where I have migraine headaches over it. And you look at it and you just feel the headache. But no one's really offered a 1, 2, 3 solution, which is make the higher quality, export go up, brand, sell the products, export value goes up, supply yourself, trade imbalances, and inflation is lessened.
So in your experience, what should be the target industry that we should focus on to develop the supporting industries?
Well, think of what you're good at. In the north, you have an electronics center.
Okay.
Around the south, you have a cluster of textiles and shoes. So whatever goes into those areas is what should be supporting those areas.
All right, let's take a short break and we'll be right back. Vâng, thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là phần 2 cuộc trò chuyện với giáo sư Soren Kirchner. Mời quý vị giải lao trong ít phút trước khi quay trở lại với phần cuối của chương trình. Xin cảm ơn. Vâng, xin mời quý vị tiếp tục theo dõi chương trình Tôi Việt Nam trên kênh FBNC cùng với cuộc trò chuyện cùng giáo sư Soren Kirchner. Hi Soren, welcome back.
Thanks.
Let's talk about your teaching.
Okay.
You're doing MBA professors at the school, Greeks and CIE.
Yeah, the University of Houston.
What courses
Clear
are you
Lake and-
teaching?
Huh?
What courses are you teaching?
I'm doing a lot of OB, marketing, of course, you can imagine.
Organizational behavior.
And marketing, mostly. yeah.
Marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So is MBA degree is it necessary for business entrepreneurs? Because a lot of people told me that I don't have the degree, but I still make a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that's because you really don't need an MBA to be an entrepreneur and make a lot of money. A lot of people get an MBA because they learned something, and maybe they wouldn't have learned it had they not taken the course. And there's a lot of agreement in corporations what an MBA means, and as long as people agree that it means something, they'll want to get MBAs and hire MBAs.
Well, it's a big difference between textbooks and the business environments here in Vietnam, especially. So how do you apply what you have learned from the book into the reality?
Well, the book is going to have.
What have you told your students?
Well, the book is going to have workshop exercises, so a company can ask themselves certain questions about how they can do the 1, 2, 3 strategy.
Okay.
So it's sort of like stepping into my classroom and taking my course. When I teach MBA, I don't lecture too much. I try to invent and design learning activities where the students have to discuss
What kind of learning activities?
learning activities that help them apply theory to the reality of business rather than just in a vacuous cloud of theory. So good theory is the most practical thing in the world. And bad theory doesn't work. So you can't just say all theory is bad. There's good theory and there's bad theory. Bad theory doesn't help you. Good theory does.